We do not want to be given free lunch. We want to pay. So what do? Because we have to agree on what to do. Our position is that there is a contest between national interest and global good. And in a contest between national interest and global good, national interest wins. Because we are politicians. Macron is a politician. And in politics, your constituency comes first. That is why we have not been able to get the 100 billion promised in Glasgow. Because every politician goes home and says, oh, you know, there's a global problem called climate change. We need to get money from you guys to go and sort out that problem. So the people of their country ask them, how is it our problem? A global issue? Why do we have to raise money to go and sort out the global issue? We run into trouble. So we need a new financing mechanism. We need a new global financial institution. It is not possible, I dare say, to sort out a global problem using national institutions or institutions that are subject to national interest or institutions that are subject to shareholder interests. How do we do it? Let me conclude. How do we do it? This is our proposal. There are already 4 proposals on the table. My good sister here from the IMF and others have said we should explore the possibility of carbon price flow, right? They've said let's make a proposal. $25 for the least developed, $50 per ton on carbon, and 75. We are ready from the global south. We are ready from the continent of Africa to pay our part. We do not want to be given free lunch. We want to pay. Everybody should pay. Emitters should pay. Consumers should pay, the global south should pay, the global north should pay, everybody should pay.
Precisely, President Ruto, William, what is your view about your situation and your expectations, demands vis-à-vis this global institution and how to fix the situation in your country and the continent?
Thank you very much, Macron, and thank you for daring to call us to this meeting. I'm told it was How Dare You conference. But in any case, we are here. Let me just speak to this in 2 ways. Number one, I have had my sister Kristalina and Bangra, and we have excellent relations with the World Bank and IMF from Kenya. And these people have been incredibly of assistance, and we sincerely appreciate. But I am also aware that both Kristalina and Bangra have a job to do, and they have people they report to, called shareholders, and they don't have the final word. The final word rests with somebody else. And that is why we are almost all of us speaking the same language, because we seem to be on the same corner. There are people who are not sitting here, yet they call the shots. Now, we have a situation, and let me speak from the perspective of Kenya, our continent in Africa, and the global south. We need emergency liquidity. We need debt relief. We need urgently new money, with urgency, with scale. That's our situation. How are we going to get that in the current situation? Listening to Guterres this morning, we get development resources 8 times more expensively than others. We have inadequate resources, and it takes forever to access it. So, how do we, how do we make meaning of this summit that my brother Emmanuel has put together? Our position is that if you want to get debt relief, emergency liquidity, and new money together, let us live here having agreed on one thing, that, like Guterres has said, let's look for 500 billion new money. But if we are going to distribute it the way we did SDR, we will end up with nothing. SDR, we ended up with $33 billion in our continent of 1.2 billion people. Europe, with 450 million people, ended up with 5 times what we got. You heard it this morning, not from me, from the UN Secretary General, that we got 13 times less as Africans as compared to Europeans, because the whole architecture, and by the way, it was fair by the architecture, the current architecture of the financial system. But it is grossly unfair when we are looking at fairness. So, what are we saying? Our position, good people, is we do the following. Let us agree that the money we are supposed to pay for the next 10 years as repayment of debt, let us convert it into a new loan that is 50-year loan with 20-year grace period, so that you don't have a problem with your AAA rating. You can continue to have the AAA rating, but you don't have a problem with your shareholders because you haven't given away any money. You've just changed the structure, and we get both liquidity, we get it urgently, and we can develop our countries. For Kenya, for example, we pay $10 billion every year to service our debts. If I had $10 billion every year for development in Kenya, instead of paying debt, it would make a huge difference. Let's have something that is practical so that we live here, that next year I don't have to pay $10 billion to pay debt. It will have been rescheduled. I will pay it 20 years from now, and I will have 30 years to pay that money. I will make that money available for roads, for health, for water, for education. It will make a hell lot of difference. We will have done something with this conference. We can discuss governance, we can discuss reform, we can discuss transformation of our multilateral development institutions. That will take time. We are talking about the debts that we already have. They have already been assessed. They have all the things, all the rigmaroles have gone through. That's why we already owe. So we are saying, let us take either 10, 15, 20-year debt that we would have paid for the next 20 years. Let's have that money to grow our economies. It will make a whole difference.
Our mandates at their core are the same, but how we implement these mandates changes dramatically. For the fund, we have a clear mission. It is macroeconomic financial stability, growth, and employment. But to implement this mission in the world I described with the disbalances we face requires to think much more comprehensively about the resilience of people that are educated, healthy, with good social protection at their feet, the resilience of society, not just of the banking sector, because when society is unfair, unjust, the economy cannot really deliver the best fruits for people. And of course, the resilience of our planet. And when we take that more holistic, more comprehensive mandate, then it takes us to how we work. What are the priorities we set? What are the instruments we deploy? Priorities we set, well, clearly a top priority for both the bank and the fund is to mobilize more concessional and grant financing because of the disbalances we described. Our track record on that, we have the Poverty Reduction and Growth Trust. We almost got the resources we need. Demand is higher, interest rates are higher, so bringing concessionality is more expensive. We are short on subsidies.